Okay.
I just got a notice. We're live on YouTube.
All right. Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Night Showcase. As always, every Friday night at 9 p.m., I am joined by fun, intellectual guests who make me look stupid on a daily basis. So it's very fun. And tonight is no different. I have a good friend and my partner on the Pulling Focus podcast joining me, and we're here to talk about his film festival, which is currently going on. We are very proud here at the scenesnobs.com to be sponsors of it. It is the Skyline Indie Film Festival. If you have not gotten a pass, make sure you head over to skylineindiefilmfest.org and get your passes because you are missing out on some great films. I should know. I think I've been attacking them a little too hard on day one and day two. But Brian, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Mick. Thank you so much.
Man, it's always good to have you on the show. And I'm happy to talk Skyline, man. It's here. How do you feel?
Kind of tired. No, I feel good. We're really proud of the program that we have put together this year, and there's some really good films in there. I'm really proud of the features we got this year. We know we programmed probably twice as many features as we usually do, and that was just because they were that good. Yeah, so it's good. I think there's about like just shy of 60 this year, 60 films.
Yes, and I am one third of the way there. I just finished my 20th film today. Um,
Wow.
I'm,
You're like working on super fan status there.
and I definitely am. I love it. I'm having a great time with it. It seems it's very addictive to, and I guess this setting of virtual film festival is because if you're when you're running around and like it's all over town, you may not make everything.
Yeah,
But at least in this virtual setting, it's like I finish one and it's like, oh, this looks interesting, and then it's kind of bounce right in. I do miss the idea of like going to different venues and like kind of meeting with people and networking, but you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
stupid
It's
COVID.
stupid COVID. Yeah, it's drastically different, and I'm I'm tired. I'm always tired during the festival because I'm a worrier, And but this time it's different because I'm not loading chairs. I'm not setting up projectors. I'm not worried about projectors blowing a bulb or the sound not working or something like that. It was easy to sort of practice test all the logistics, the technical logistics and stuff in advance. Um, so I just, I'm going to find something to worry about. So I do. So my stress level is right where it should be for this part of the festival. But I'm not physically exhausted from slugging chairs and stuff like that around.
Well, that's good because yeah, that's always the fun part. Been there, don't miss it. But I'll probably be there to help you next year if you need it.
Yeah, I hope so.
So it's I can't get over the quality of every. I mean, to watch 20 films so far for me, and to see every one of them as a quality film, it really shows that the judges are on point and they know what they like, and but it is a variety, so it's not like oh they like one certain type of film and that's it.
Right.
There's a good variety of films. I was talking to my friend Jeremy earlier, and you were on Facebook, and you were talking to him as well. And I know him, like we were roommates in film school and such, and so I know comedies and sci-fi and horror were his. And there was a good like amount of films I could say, go check these out. I think you really like them.
Yeah, I saw your suggestions when he said when you asked him what do you want to see, and he laid it out there: comedy, sci-fi, horror. And I was like, oh well, he's going to have plenty to choose from. And then you made some great suggestions for him to get started. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the nice part is because I'm like a fan of all of the genres. I've had a healthy mix. So like watching a movie like a documentary like Just Like Will, which is very deep and emotional,
Yeah,
beautifully.
that's just such a special movie. It really is. Everyone should go check that out. It's considered a feature, but it's just a smidge over 30 minutes. But that's a beautiful film.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I adored it. That was my first film in, but and then like you watch Freeland, and Freeland is a very different type of film, more dramatic film. And then I watched like a short film like The Doe, which
I love
was
the dough. I
The
loved it.
Doe was fantastic, and it was that's right there. Like it plays well into. So for anybody who's I know we're talking about movies. Anybody who's listening, I want you guys to go out and check these out. But The Doe is like a thriller type horror movie, not very like not gory type horror, but more thriller esque. But everything that's going on, so there's
Mhm.
actually no real threat. But the intriguing part about it is how the female protagonist in the movie is changing throughout all of these encounters because she doesn't know what's going on.
Right. Right. And
Uh,
it's all about interpretation, right? And
Absolutely. I mean, it's a good character study of like what would happen if this situation occurred, um, and especially in today's world. So
yeah, and it's nice to not be led by the nose through a movie, so you know all the aspects of this one from all three or four vantage points, and
yes,
it's just quality filmmaking as well. It looks good, it's lit good, it's good camera work, it's good.
and I actually that's one of the things really want to talk to you about it with when it comes to picking movies at Skyline and stuff like that. One thing I've noticed is even though there's a variety, it is a very they're very beautiful films, cinematically. Uh, the stories are really well done and put together. If it's not the cinematography, it's the animation on some of them, and things like that. So, uh, I've seen a lot of indie films where, I don't, it doesn't bother me to have seen them, but like the filmmakers didn't put that much heart and soul, I guess, into the cinematic look. But it impresses me that you have almost 60 films where it seems like every single one of them does. Is that what you look for?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like I compare it to like buying a car, right? You're not going to buy a car that you're not proud to walk up to, that you don't like when you see it in the parking lot as you're approaching it, right? So there is a surface, a, I don't want to call it shallow because it's important in film, it matters, but there is a instant appreciation for quality work. And if something comes up and it's grainy or um, as long as it's intentional, if it's not superb quality, but it's the way it is for a reason, it's motivated, then that doesn't play in as much. But um, it has to be for a reason. It's we every year we get something shot on mini DV. you know it usually doesn't make it in for one reason or another, but initially it's quality. Quality's a big part of it, especially in a virtual situation. If it's not HD, shot on film and scanned to HD or whatever the situation is, it's not going to present well, and we want the film to be presented well.
Well, that's a great point. And one of the things I've like said to filmmakers and such, I've been, I've had a couple of short films, things like that. So like as a director or as a writer or anything, like it's been minimal in terms of submitting anything to a film festival. A lot of them are only like college film festivals. So that's my experience, other than having worked on film festivals.
Sure.
So there is a detachment there. Like I don't have anything, if I'm volunteering or I'm doing load in and load outs or stuff, I don't have an attachment to that film festival other than just pride of working. But my point being, I tell a lot of filmmakers, if you get denied um, in a certain film festival, there's no reason, like, first of all, don't ever get mad because rejection is part of the game. I mean, you're getting tons and tons and tons of submissions, and you can only handle so many. Every film festival, and I'm sure that's true with Skyline, of
Yeah.
course. So I always tell them, I was like, if you were denied, That doesn't mean that you'll always be denied. That doesn't mean that you're the filmmaker that happens to, but you should still get passes. You should still check out, like if it's a local thing, or this year, especially with everything being virtual, check out what they are picking and get an idea, because like it should be inspiring to watch these movies and learn new looks or learn new techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's I get it. You know, rejection's hard. It is. There's a festival for every film is the saying, but every film isn't for every festival. Something like that. And it's you spend all your time. You spent probably more money than you really had. You've called in all your favors. You've made this thing. If you're willing to submit it to a film festival, you're pretty proud of it. And it's heartbreaking to get rejected, but you have to do the research and see what's played before there. Is it worth the 75-80 bucks to submit to Sundance? It's probably not. You got to manage your expectations as well. We're limited this year by server space, so we typically show 65 to 75 movies, and this year I think we're 58. I think I said a little earlier or something like that. But this year we're limited to server space, so films that like we had some really robust programming meetings about what was going to be included and what wasn't. So.
Well, one thing I really love that you guys did, and I was a part of it, and I'm, I thank you so much for letting me, in a small way, be a part of what you're doing with Skyline this year. It's been fantastic, and I'm having a ball with it. Any way I can help, I love to do it. But you brought me in for the reading of The Princess Bride, which was so much fun. I'm going to leave that alone because Brian and I host a show called Pulling Focus Podcast, if you don't know about it. And we talked extensively about that this morning.
Extensively, and how we feel after doing that.
Exactly. And, we worked with Scripts Gone Wild, and it was a lot of fun. So I want to mention that because it's going to be playing through Skyline all weekend. So you should go check that out. It was a lot of fun to do a table read of the drinking game table read of The Princess Bride, as I should call it. So check that out. But you're also doing a live read, table read of a movie called Limpet.
Yeah. So, and it's not a film that's been shot yet. It's just a script. And we invited some of the screenwriters. It's hard at a regular festival. It's hard. I haven't figured out a good way to include the writers and celebrate the writers. So we wanted to do live reads. So I threw it out there to all the writers. If you're interested in throwing together a live read, we'd love to, you can record it, you can cast it, you can get me the film or the video of that, or we can do it live, but you got to cast it. And I think we're doing the live one called for Limpet Sunday at 3, Sunday the 13th at 3. And there's one out there. Oh God, I'm going to lose the name of it. Let's see. It's already recorded and it's available. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, no problem, please. While we're doing that, so yeah, like I said, make sure everybody they're also doing, and we'll talk about this in just a few moments, but they're going to be doing a screenwriting seminar, which is always a great thing to take. I'm going to be taking it, of course, and it's just for knowledge in general. I mean, I want to learn everything I can, and screenwriters out there, you should definitely be taking advantage of that. But yeah, live reads, like that's a great idea for writers. Writers, like if film festivals are offering you a chance to do a live read, and it can be virtual so everybody can check it out, you should be doing it. There's no reason not to. Get your script out there, cast it with friends, cast it with whoever who will take it seriously and do it, and then record it, or see if you can set it up like with Brian and do a live reading.
Yeah. So the one that we have a recording of is called Something Big. And it's about 15 minutes, 14 pages. And funny thing, Frank Mosley from Freeland, who we did a podcast with,
nice.
The Freeland folks, he's one of the readers on here. So Frank's part of the festival twice.
Frank is an awesome dude. And guys, check out our show Pulling Focus, because we've done an interview with the entire cast, the producers and director of and writers of Freeland, which is a film at Skyline, and we've done interview with Gavin Michael Booth, who his movie Last Call is a part of Skyline this year, and we've also done an interview with the guys from Cosmos, Xander and Elliot Weaver.
Yeah.
So we've you're covering your bases next year, man. We got to do everybody. We got to get everybody on board. It'll be
we have to start earlier though. We have to start as soon as the selections are made.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Confirmed.
Yeah, but it's such a fun time I'm having. But I want to talk about for anybody who may watch or listen and they want to know, like, you know, because there are newer filmmakers who may have never submitted before, and they want to know what the process is. So for you, like, what's the process? Not just submitting, but like when they're here, what's going to happen? How does it all work?
Well, we try to be as accommodating as we can. You know, we're a pretty small festival, so we can't help out with travel and hotels and stuff like that. We try to, you know, secure some discounts and things like that for hotel blocks, you know, like you do for your little league baseball team or whatever, you know, when you get a bunch of people staying in one place. But we try to have something social every day of the festival, 4 days of the festival. So there's an opening night toast. It's usually at the book gallery, and we just everybody who's in town hopefully shows up, and we actually meet face to face if we have it, and you know exchange pleasantries, and you know that's always a little stiff, you know, because it's the first day of the festival, and just we don't know each other yet, you know. And then on Friday we do something social, some sort of party or a picnic type thing at one of the breweries, and have a food truck come in, something like that. And then people are a little more comfortable around each other because they've been watching movies all day, or you know, Thursday night, and that's the beginning of their Friday. And then Saturday the films show in earnest. You know, it start at 10 a.m. and they go till like midnight. The last film ends around 11:30 or midnight. And then there's the wrap party, and then everybody knows everybody by then, and you see people sort of congregating together and hanging out, and you just watch the sort of circles move around and stuff like that. So um, it's a good time. I think it's we got dinged kind of hard early on in our history with not providing enough networking opportunities, so we stepped that up. So we do something every day to so the people can network and meet each other and collaborate and stuff like that. But you know, everything's right there in Old Town. So if you stay at the hotel there in Old Town, the George Washington, you can walk to all the venues. You don't need a rental car or to put miles on your rental car, that kind of thing. And yeah, we just try to keep it concise, uh, program good things, help people get here as best we can. You know, between couch surfing and Airbnb connections and hotel discounts, um, free food, free beer. You know.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's good. And like you said, that's a perfect networking opportunity. And you know, I've seen it through you, just kind of how the relationships you've built, and to see other filmmakers building along the way, like the producer of Freeland, Laura Heberon. She and you have become friends. You know, was it Ben Heathcote and
Mm-hmm.
Tony Sorensen was a part of the read last night, and they have both submitted to Skyline in the past, and like people get to know each other and they network out, and it all is birthed from Skyline. So it's very cool to see, and I really hope more filmmakers, you know, see this and take that opportunity. You know, don't be
Yeah.
afraid.
So it's so interesting that creators in general, but filmmakers in particular, so many of them are introverted, and it's hard to go out and go to a town that you don't know, to meet people you don't know, to show your art that's going to get critiqued for better or worse, and you don't know. You know, I mean, it's a big step. I don't know that I can do it honestly. If I ever finish a short and submit it, and if I'm lucky enough to have it accepted somewhere, I'm going to see how it's received before I attend a festival.
Well,
I know that that goes against all the instruction and the planning and you know the idea of going to a film festival is to go there to be the marketing team yourself and get people to go see it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I had the guts for it.
You do it. I'll go with you, man. I'll be your backup. They're just fun film festivals, and just again from experience of not really having, and I want to get into this point too of like I can only speak from the having either worked them or just I'm going to a film festival. I have nothing here, but I'm a filmmaker, and I want to talk to people, or I go with friends and I'm supporting them. It's a great networking opportunity. More filmmakers should be going to all these film festivals. Like I said, to watch the movies and kind of get a feel or an idea of techniques and things like that, or story writing techniques. Taking the seminars that are available, listening to the live reads, stuff like that. All these different events that are available to them to learn. But I know I'm long-winded on this one, but I wanted to say like it's an incredible networking opportunity, and I don't understand why more filmmakers who are especially local to someplace like we're right here in Winchester, where Skyline is. There's tons of filmmakers. Why aren't you guys going out and doing it? Of course, this year it's a little different, but they should be making sure not just for the support, but to help themselves. But that's
Yeah.
another thing. I wanted to ask you. What is it like for somebody who, is just maybe a fan or wants to go? Like, how many venues do you have? How does it kind of work for them, like to come out and be a part of it?
Yeah, not drastically different. We have a lot of core fans from that have been with us from the very beginning, and they get excited about it, and we can count on them being there and interacting and being real um, ambassadors to the festival in a literal sense. They love it, and it's great. They're the best kind of people you want associated with your festival. They volunteer to work box office. They volunteer to set up and break down. They buy a pass. If you volunteer, you get a volunteer pass, but they'll buy a pass for their spouse. Even though they could go together, that kind of thing. So they support it with their energy and their labor and their money, and it's great. um Sort of the general audience, we don't draw a huge audience from like all across the mid-Atlantic or anything like that, but we bring 750 to 1,000 people down to Old Town over 4 days, and they're all eating in the restaurants and staying in the hotels and going in the gift shops and going in the bookstore and things like that. So it's not a economic boon or anything, but it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean that's a
This
big part of helping your community, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah, and we try to include anybody that we can and anyone who's interested with um, hosting a reception or sponsoring in some simple way. We don't want to be a financial burden on anyone, but we do, if they want to be involved, we want to have them involved somehow. But the all the venues are in Old Town. There's usually five or six. It's all within walking distance. There's a ton of parking in Winchester in the garages and street parking. So you park your car if you're going to be there for 2 hours or you're going to be there for 6 hours. You park your car once, go get some food, go see a movie, go get a drink, go see a movie, that kind of thing. And this year with it being virtual, we didn't build blocks ourselves, so it was much easier in that regard for the programming director. Um, but typically we have blocks and they're at least loosely themed. So then you go to the shorts block number one, family drama block, or the shorts block number two, the horror block, or the sci-fi block, or whatever. um, yeah, and you sort of get a feel for who's going to what and things like that. There are no velvet ropes at Skyline. Everybody's accessible. If they choose to be out, our audience can approach them and does approach them and tell them what they feel about their movies and things like that. And I think that's nice. I don't want to have green rooms and VIP areas and things like that.
Yeah, and I like that too. I will say, again, working like the Florida Film Festival for one, they had a really nice tent green area for the filmmakers where the primo beer was. So whenever they'd be going into their movies, you can sneak in and grab a couple.
That's a big festival though. That's a really big festival.
Yeah, I worked that for 2 years, and I became the project coordinator on it the second year, and that was a lot of fun. I got the first year. I'm sorry, I know I'm name dropping, but it's because we're buddies, and I can do that with you. You know, I'm not bragging. Chaz Palminteri was there the first one, and he was a really good dude. Um, and then Anthony Bourdain was the keynote speaker for the second year. I met him at, was outside, and he was having his beer and I was having a beer. So it was a good time. And I got to talk to him a little bit about a show. That was back in no reservations days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was a personal assistant for Malcolm McDowell on that one too. That was like, I think I told you that story, didn't I? About the singing in the rain, whistling.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was a trip, man. But yeah, so
Well,
like,
now our listeners want to know.
well, we were on the bus, and I was just a personal assistant, but I'm sitting there next to my directing teacher because it was Full Sail University that brought him in, and he was sitting on the bus, and he was just off on the side. And I think you knew, like, we were like giggling little schoolgirl fans over while he was looking at his phone, so we just started whistling, singing in the rain, and it was, I just wanted him to beat me over the head with a cane. That's all I wanted. So it was a good time. But
He's never heard that before.
yeah, come on, just hit me already. No, it's a. I don't. Again, I went off on a tangent about my experience. No, that was stupid. But anyway, going back to Skyline, I love the vibe. I love Winchester. I love the whole vibe of Winchester and the artistic roots that are here. I've been just to kind of give a shout out to Manic Marshall, who you introduced me to, who did the amazing magnets for Skyline this year. You introduced me to his Instagram, and now my 8-year-old and I have been running around town looking.
It's so much fun.
It really is. It's such a good time, but like that's Winchester, and Skyline fits so perfectly in with that and what Winchester is. So ever since.
I think that part was easy. Like I love movies. The people we bought the bookstore from love movies, and through the bookstore they had like the last DVD rental place in the town, as far as I know, and we inherited that, and that really got me stoked on movies again. Um, and I just like this. We got this cute little old historic pedestrian mall. We should be showing movies on the mall and things like that. And people were doing it. Magic Lantern Theaters in town, they do it. Parks and Rec did something for the kids, like every Thursday in the summertime, um, that kind of stuff. But there was no independent film festival. I was like, oh, this is a no brainer. And I was really optimistic the first year. We showed every movie twice, and we were using discs. And I had 9 venues all over the city, not just in Old Town. And yeah, I learned real quickly discs are the devil's work. And yeah, we're done with the that many venues. I was really optimistic. I was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be 50,000 people here. This is gonna be amazing. And there weren't 50,000 people here.
Like that, I have to, like, it is such a beautiful area anyway, and I wish I could describe it perfectly. It's just it's not just an old town that you would find and in a lot of places here in Virginia, but like you walk down the main drag here, and it's just art everywhere. Beautiful. Like, I mean, they have a poet who's just typing on a typewriter for you, right out in the street,
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful bookstore like the Winchester Book Gallery. You have coffee shops, and there's just art everywhere, and it's
yeah.
fantastic. I love that. It reminds me of a lot of places in New York City, but there's a much more quaint feeling here, and that's why.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it bucolic. It's not quaint works, but it's not a village. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's I don't know. It's moderately medium-sized city that was the center of industry for 200 years in this area.
That's fair. And going on. Hey, listen, I'm just going to say this. I think we need to bring back the whole renting videos thing, but that's just me.
I still have all the discs. That's my personal collection now.
There you go. You gotta get the rental out. I'm telling you, people are dying for it.
It's
So
so hard. It is so hard. I don't know if you've ever worked at a video rental store, and this isn't there's no tapes, so it's not rewind fees and stuff like that. It's just getting your property back so you can rent it to someone else, you
I
know.
know it is. I listen. I'm so optimistic about it, but I do remember the horrors of it too. Of man, there's so many unrewinded tapes. Uh, but I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the lineup, and specifically, I've watched, I guess, 23 in total. Because I'll just give you the lineup of what I've watched so far, and then I want to get some recommendations from you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Kind of like we can kind of talk about like whatever's going on, and I'm not going to rate them or anything for you, but I'm doing that on my social media. But yeah, there are some surprising gems that really jumped out at me that I didn't know if I was going to take to or not, and they really did. So
All right.
Cosmos, everybody should check out, not just
Yeah.
because that's the Scene Snobs sponsored movie, but check it out. It's a truly fantastic tale about friendship, and it's a beautiful adventure story with good drama. It's just beautifully shot. Everything else, like it's a great movie. Everybody should check it out.
And
Freeland is another one.
Cosmos made for under $10,000 over 6 years or something like that. And when you watch it, you can't tell. It's it lacks nothing.
Oh, it's so fan. Every aspect of it. That movie. That's. I'm gonna go over it again, but that's definitely in my top three favorite movies of this year so far. I usually come out with my full ratings, even if it's just for myself sitting at home. But like, what's my favorite? But that's right now in the top three running, I think. And Hamilton was really good. So uh, it's kind of on the list. I hate to say it, but it is.
That's funny.
But Cosmos was just a fantastic movie. I'm so glad Skyline has it this year. Freeland was great. Beautiful movie. It's such a beautiful looking movie. The cinematography blew me away in that.
And
A
the
very,
score, the
oh,
cinematography, and the score is really impressive. You when you notice it, and it's not, and you don't notice it because it's bad. That's
yeah.
that's really a good score.
It's a subtle score too, but it is so good. Another one that was shot really well by Gavin Michael Booth was Last Call,
Hmm.
which is very interesting tale, and the way he shoots it is wonderful. You're essentially watching both characters in the movie at all times together, and I'm going to kind of leave that out. It's all one shot, the whole movie. So everybody check that out. It's beautifully shot.
Yep,
So
agreed.
I did check out Just Like Will, which is a beautiful documentary and fantastic tale. Everybody should watch that. Um, so I think some of my favorite Skin, which you said won the Academy Award last year,
Yeah,
was fantastic and intense, and still is kind of haunting my dreams.
yeah. That's what an ending.
Yeah, I know. What Doesn't Kill Us is a great zombie mockumentary, handled really well.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I
it,
love
it it gave us new vernacular for zombies, the necrosapiens.
Necrosapiens. Better respect the name Necrosapiens. Um, Talk Outside was a fun little one.
Mm.
Um, then there was I gotta go through and pick my favorites, but I haven't done that. On in 15 is another one I saw. Night Songs was really interesting to me. Um, and how he talks about he's bird watcher, but he talks about the sound of birds,
Yeah.
what's
So,
flying.
and it would never occur to me that it's a pretty short documentary. 5 minutes 28 seconds. So there are no spoilers, but it would never occur to me that birds migrate at night.
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
mean, and of course they do. They fly so far; they have to fly all the time. Yeah, so it's pretty neat how he studies them with sound by recording them.
Yeah, it was just so well put together. I
And the
really,
animation on that, the little animation transitions and stuff,
I
were really good.
yeah, even with the musical notes and everything that he's putting together, like it's not even music that he's listening to. He's just listening to the sound of the birds, but he put it to music. I thought that was brilliant. Um, Napo, uh, about the boy and his grandfather, the
Hmm.
animated film. I watched that with my son this morning. We both loved it. Um, I love those tales that don't need any dialogue to tell a story,
Yeah,
and it's such a beautiful tale. Medium Rare was it was kind of intense. um,
medium rare. Let me hover on that for a second. Oh yeah, yeah. The young girls sneak out for a night at the club, and
yeah, it gets pretty rough.
yeah,
And yeah, but it's definitely
very realistic.
very
Like
realistic. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's young ladies, you have it tough out there, and I apologize.
yeah, absolutely. Iron Right was beautifully shot. I fell in love with that cinematography, especially they did one shot where you're looking down at the sun and he's kind of like wrapped in sheets,
Yeah,
and then you find he's like it was him like standing in a curtain. It's just it's really well done. It was I love that. Incurable, which touched home because I have friends with MS and I've lost friends with MS, and just her whole story of having to tell her new boyfriend that she has MS and playing every aspect of it out in her home is just really really well told.
yeah.
Grab My Hand, a letter to my dad that
Did you
brought,
cry?
yeah, that brought some tears. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Uh huh. Yep. That's
it,
such a good animated. As
oh
it's just really, the story is super touching. The animation just makes it even more endearing, I think, in that case.
yeah, most assuredly, like that. It was. I watched that with both the kids, and I was thinking it was an animation, and I went into it, and I was like, yeah, yeah, he appreciates his father, so I'm going to make him watch this. And then we watch it, and I'm just like, and they're like sitting there consoling me. Um, I watched Harbor, which was a good film. It was really well shot, man. And the intensity that she has throughout the entire thing, like, really resonates with you,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. In the Pink was good. Kind of heartbreaking, really, to watch the descent, her mental descent,
Yeah.
after finding out she has this disease. Extra innings, yes, I cried. Shut up. Um,
You cry because it wasn't the Mets, it was the Red Sox, right?
I'm a Yankees fan. So,
Oh, my bad, my bad. I should have known that. I got that totally wrong.
we talked about the dough, which is really good. Death by PowerPoint. It's a fun little one.
Yeah, local filmmaker as well.
Yeah, you told me, and one thing I really loved about it was the end credits.
Yeah,
Every bad thing he came up with throughout that entire thing was the end credits. I thought that was creative. And one that really blew me away um, was Diorama.
I was just hovering on that. I was hoping that was going to be on your list.
Yes, I watched it because I was like, I don't know, I don't, not that it wouldn't be interesting. I just didn't know if I'd find it interesting. And I walked away from it looking her up and wanting to get one of those.
I do too. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna put it right here, because she just does a really amazing job, and to learn why she does it and how she copes with
Right.
working on a public defender's office.
Hmm.
She copes with all this violence by doing that. I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah,
And then
it's certainly a unique coping mechanism to make something that sort of graphic and gruesome, but they're also dioramas and they're little miniatures and they're cute in a absurd kind of way.
And I love that, like a Manic Marshall, she puts them all over.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. I haven't seen this one in a while. But yeah, she leaves them out for people to find.
I think I talked about On in 15. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. That was fun comedy.
Yeah, shot in one take.
Yep.
So kudos for that to try slapstick physical comedy in one take. Whew.
Yeah, I know. Especially for, for for lack of a better term, I'll say amateur filmmakers going in, maybe doing it. I hate to use that term though, because they're not amateurs,
We know what you mean though.
um, but to be able to do it, because there are professionals who've been doing this for years that can't pull off one takes. Um,
Or won't even try it.
and I'm saving the best for last, but before that, I'm going to say Free. Free really surprised me.
Also local.
Yeah, I saw they shot that in Middletown, Virginia.
Yep.
That really surprised me. It was a nice tale. I love the dance aspect of it. And not to give anything away to anybody because I don't think it's announced, but like who he is in the end,
Right,
was even more impactful. But then I got to talk about very important one that is, like I've said it before, and I think I said it earlier on our other show, The Speed of Time.
yeah, that's fun.
That was a really fun one. It's like through all of these, there's some fun ones that I've been able to watch stuff that'll make me cry and then switch off to a fun one. You've done very well with that, honestly.
Well, yeah, you don't want to program depression.
It's
So
very,
you gotta. I like even my music playlists. There are very few albums where I like the entire album, so I'll just take the tracks that I like, and it's not necessarily the top 40 track or anything like that. Well, most of my music never hit top 40 anyway, but it'll be something flowy and ethereal, and then it'll be bluegrassy, and then it'll be like death metal, and it's just like I call it the eclectic whiplash playlist. And I do my best to do that with films too, just so there's a broad spectrum of types of movies to watch. So
absolutely. And that's movies in general. So it's absolutely what it should be. The movie industry. You need the Fast and the Furious movies, Brian.
I know.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, man. Figuring out. Do you have any that I haven't mentioned that you would recommend to me?
Yeah, let me take a look. So anybody can check these out if they go to skylineindiefilmfest.org and click on attend. You're going to land on our welcome page, and then the film guide is right there. But Cosmos, The Doe, you mentioned Freeland, you've seen so many.
I know. I'm still
um,
going too.
like Holy Wine is another musical dance piece, and I really like those. So I would recommend checking that one out. Lunch Break is local to our area. Ryan Cudahy produced that.
Oh,
He's
I know
working.
Ryan. Yeah, I've had him on my show.
Yeah, he's working on his feature, Mount Skylight or something like that, right? Or
Yeah.
Mount Skyline, maybe.
No, that's yeah, right. Let's go with that. Let's go with that for right now.
Yeah. Um, I like the lure of this land a whole lot. It's this woman goes to Belize, falls in love with it, and meets people who are expat to Belize, and it's sort of their stories. So there's like an animal rescue. Um, it's just all kinds of things. The lure of this land, definitely. Um, Making Samantha's interesting. It's about a trans woman, um, and they make a song. The song is called "Make I Am Samantha" is the song, but "Making Samantha" is the sort of documentary about her and the artist and the actors portray people in the video, and they're all trans. And I just think that one's pretty special for a couple of good reasons. Um, God, September is or I think I did that wrong. What is that? No, November 1st is the movie. I called it September 1st. super intense. A woman and her estranged daughter are going to the execution of someone who killed her other child,
Oh,
and it's wow, it's intense. If you like intense movies, that and Skin are both like, you know, just battling it out for the most intense movies this year, I think.
well, Skin is haunting my tail, haunting my.
If you like sort of Lynchian, David Lynchian type stuff, Runaway They'll See Us is awesome. Those are my dogs. Can you hear them?
But we love those here.
Yeah, all right. I don't think they're going to stop. So. But Runaway They'll See Us is 6 minutes 5 seconds, and
Nice.
it's awesome. I love it. I love the weird stuff too.
All right.
So
Well,
yeah, so there's some recommendations.
I've locked them all in. I'm definitely gonna check them out. Yeah, you got such a great lineup, and I'm going for viewer who's watched the most stuff this year.
Well, with the online platform, I can see all the analytics, so I can see who watched what and for how long. So, and that's I know we're trying to wrap it up, but that's a good thing too, is that I can see who watched what and for how long. And if everybody turned off some film at 6 minutes in of a 80-minute film, we should probably look at that and decide why people didn't want to watch it, and just dial in our programming a little better,
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, you didn't think about that, and you never really had that with beforehand before the virtual aspect.
Well, it was really old fashioned. Uh, you could send out email polls and things like that after the fact and things like that, but you don't get a lot of those back usually. Um, Voting for fan favorite was pretty, until we got Event of last year, was pretty basic as well. It was, here's a sheet of paper with the films that you just watched in this block, and just make a little tear, rate it 1 to 5, that kind of thing. But with these analytics, yeah, it's going to be interesting when this is over to see if we programmed well or not. If I should be as proud of this program as I am.
I think so. Again, I haven't watched anything that I've disliked in any way, or it's all been fun, honestly. Even like the intense stuff, like we said, like I'm walking away from it feeling rewarded to having put it on and watch it. And if a movie can pull out some type of emotion like that, I think that's important.
Yeah.
So, and you of course did pick some tear jerkers because you just know me, and
I love a movie that can make me cry though.
yeah, and
So,
that you did. You definitely picked some. Um, but we have a question from Rob G. Do you think the movies being online encourages people to abandon them, unlike the theater, where they might stick around? Abandon early, he means.
yeah. Walkouts are just part of a film festival, so it'll be interesting to see with the analytics when people stop watching. I think there's a bit of especially if there's a full auditorium or something, and someone gets up and walks out, that like people want to know who it is, and like, oh, I saw that guy earlier and he walked out of this, but I liked it, or I didn't like it, but I was going to give it a shot. Um, it's certainly easier to air quote walk out of one, but we'll see, and the analytics will tell the tale on that.
Nice. And I know you said for next year you're going to do sort of a hybrid. You're going to have if we can, of course, we never know with the apocalypse of 2020,
Right.
what's going to happen. But ideally it will be in person, and you were going to kind of stick with virtual in some fashion.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a great addition that got really fast forwarded into our laps because of COVID. This is nothing um, that wasn't already planned, but it was just delivered so much quicker because of COVID. So we would have been here, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after. And I think other film festivals that plan on making it will have to adopt some sort of virtual presentation.
All right. Well, I'm definitely, again, I'm excited about it because that'll be nice, because especially just living here, like getting that networking aspect going in and seeing movies on the theater and stuff like that. And then also having a chance to tell filmmaker friends, like, listen, if you can't make it, or,
Yeah.
it might show virtual, you should submit.
Yeah. And you know, another good aspect is, you know, a lot of filmmakers can't afford to fly across the country to Virginia to a film festival that's not a market, you know. So what do they really get out of it outside of the potential for some networking? And if I'm honest, that's on a pretty small scale. You know, it's we don't get 130 filmmakers here. You know, we get 25, maybe something like that. Um, but now that everybody's so comfortable on Zoom and Skype and things like that, and the event of the streaming is super easy. It used to be a nightmare to try to Skype in a filmmaker, and it just never really worked. And you know, I have to look at the laptop to talk with them, but they're projected up on the screen, and it's just it was wonky. There's no better way to say it than it was just wonky. But now everybody is a TV producer, you know. So,
True.
yeah, so I think we'll get more interaction with filmmakers and stuff, even if they can't be in person with us, they can participate. So, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to, I can't wait to see how that all plays out. It's just wonderful how much technology has been embraced through all of this to afford us this,
Yeah,
stuff online. Like you and I, with COVID, we're staying safe where we are, and but we're still able to do an interview like this.
yeah, yeah.
But I do want to say, and for anybody watching, get your passes. There's still 2 days left. There's lots of stuff going on. You can buy blocks of films that you want to watch, or you can buy full weekend pass and just it's worth it. I mean, again, I've watched 20 movies in 2 days, and people are starved for content. Like I watched good content for 2 days straight. And I'm very happy about that. So I hope everybody kind of follows suit. There's some fantastic films. Go check out the seminar, the screenwriting seminar. Go check out the Olympic live read, the other live read that you have, or the other read, I'm sorry, that you have, script read. And, go check us out on Scripts Gone Wild, reading The Princess Bride. That was a fun event. But, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
Brian, thank you so much for coming on, man, and kind of enlightening us, and hopefully filmmakers will see this and know what to do next year for when they're submitting.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for supporting Skyline all this week. The festival is over Sunday at midnight, technically, but call for entries for next year will be November 1, 2020. So we'll take a month off and sort of crunch the numbers, reevaluate things, and yeah, we'll get right back at it in November.
That's going to be so awesome. So make sure everybody, if you have your short films, I mean, there's a lot going on with COVID. You might as well start being creative and make stuff, and then submit it for next year, and then come visit us here at Winchester, Virginia. But yes, this is Skyline Indie Film Fest. Again, go check them out on skylineindiefilmfest.org. Go check out Brian and my show, Pulling Focus Podcast, filmmaking podcast. That's also on the same website, skylineindiefilmfest.org. You can follow us at Skyline Indie Film FE,
Yeah.
or at the Scene Snob. We're always, and ask us any questions you want, or if you're filmmakers and you want to do some interviews, please let us know.
Yeah. Love to talk to you.
Absolutely. So until next time, everybody, thanks for joining in. This has been the Scene Snobs Friday nights showcase. I forgot the name for a second there. And my guest, Mr. Brian Patrick from Skyline Indie Film Festival. Thank you so much for being on, buddy.
My pleasure, buddy. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.